Monchi's podcast.
Sick, yeah, then I would just appreciate that you come on to this podcast. So thanks a lot. And I also just want to mention that we can talk about anything. I will if we are talking like to personal stuff or whatever, I will just edit this all out. Yeah.
Uncensored version will be on your what's it called? What's that thing everybody has? You go on there, you have to pay a subscription and
Yeah, like some Patreon.
Yeah, Patreon, that's it.
Yeah. I will also just open up Google Translate in the case that I'm not knowing somewhere.
I have a tendency to talk pretty fast and also use a lot of Australian slang, so I think I'll try and tone it down a little bit, but if you want me to just go and do whatever, I can do that as well.
Yeah, I would just let you know if I didn't understand anything properly, and if there is like also then a big explanation afterwards, I also can just edit this out and pretend like I did understand everything.
Well, honestly, just ask me, and then it'll be funny to be able to explain it, you know. So
also I think Australian is like it's a really funny English, or you have all those slang words and whatever. At least to me, it seems funny.
Hey man, German accent is hilarious.
Yeah, I think I could speak like with proper pronunciation, but I just realized over like 1 hour or 2 hours of a podcast, I just go into German slang by default because otherwise I need to concentrate so much on pronouncing everything correctly.
Yeah.
The first or one recent funny thing I heard with the Australian slang is like this word for doofs, like these bush doofs.
Yeah.
Is it true that they are called doofs because the music is going like doof, doof, doof?
That's exactly right. We're very, very simple-minded people, you know. I remember you asked me about that a week ago or so, and I hadn't really thought about it. It's just an Australian, and it's just another Australian term for something that the world doesn't have. We have so many, like all the slang and so much terminology that nobody else really uses. So yeah, bush doof we call it, which is essentially a big party in the bush with doof music.
Yeah, and is it like in the I don't know how to imagine it properly, because at least in Germany we don't have as much nature, or like uncivilized nature, or however you want to call it. So of course are some forest where you can do some parties, but is it like really in the outback, or
like the most recent one that I went to, Esoteric Festival, it'd have to be one of the biggest. It's more of a festival now, you know. They have stalls and workshops and 10 different stages, but that is out in like farmland. So I'm pretty sure there's a farmer there that rents off his property, and they've got a big contract, and that is out in, it's I think 3 hours away from Melbourne inland. So it's pretty dirty and dusty out there. But some of the more so underground doofs, you know, they're out in the actual like forests in central Victoria. They're the ones that I've been to. There's some up where I've just recently moved to in Queensland, and they're in the national parks up here. So it's like literally like rainforest kind of areas.
Wow.
And you know, you've got all the native birds flying around. You've got all of the kangaroos running around. And
the fuck?
yeah, it's just basically a stage. You guys definitely have it over in Europe, but it's just basically a stage, some speakers, a bunch of mates that have put it together, and then the word gets out and everybody goes to that spot. So the best times that I've had are definitely when I've first started going to doofs were those smaller ones where it's like 200 people. And you end up staying up all night, maybe having 1 hour sleep, and then you wake up and then there's high tech fucking blasting, and you go down to the stage, and you know your mates still haven't slept, and they've changed or swapped all of their clothes, and I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds. I think it's really different, at least to what I did experience, because this is sounding like some proper. I guess most of the stuff is like illegal, some proper illegal raves going on for like, more than just one night or right into the next day, maybe until noon. Because I used to organize also some raves, but we weren't able to run them as long because of our physical condition. It's like,
Right. What is that, like your actual physical or mental? Like you guys were going a little bit nuts from doing it, or just getting burnt out?
I guess it's something different because we did this raves really close to the city where we live in, or actually in the city, just in some green spots in the city. And I guess it's something different if you're driving out miles and miles somewhere into the nature, building up your stuff there. It's not like you can go home the next morning instantly. You still probably need to drive for some hours or whatever. So I guess if you're doing it like that, you're probably also gonna do it longer all in all, because you just can't go home when you're really exhausted. And I think this was making the difference to my raves, or not my raves, but the raves I organized or helped organize, that, our homes were really close by, and just at 6 or 7 in the morning, just everybody wants to go home.
Yeah, see, I don't know, from my experience and my group of mates, we were there until till the end. So it would start on a Friday, end on a Sunday kind of deal.
Sick.
And you'd have to bring your tents, or you'd just sleep in the car. I went to these doofs, these little underground doofs with my brother and maybe a couple other friends, and they were my first experiences, and we just got fucking munted, man. Like you know, when you first discover drugs and you first discover psytrance and electronic music at the same time, it's like opening up your third eye, you know? It's a whole nother world. That's my version of opening up your third eye, you know? So, and you just want to keep on doing it, and you have no regard for where you're going to sleep, what rest you're going to get. Because back in the day when you're that young, you just have so much energy.
Yeah.
You don't even really care if you have to go to work at 6 o'clock Monday morning. But I started getting all my other friends involved by sending out invitations to, 400, 500 capacity events, and they were the greatest ones, because I invited some friends that they're all into metal and rock and not into electronic music at all. But if there was a good time to be had, they were on board. So that's where it all kind of started with me. And a lot of friends dropped off, and they continued on doing their own things and having kids and getting married. But I just, myself and my brother and some other friends, we want to continue having a good time doing these things. So yeah
man, sounds fucking amazing. I mean, like that some people just organize the stuff like illegally for a whole weekend. That's so not German at all. But it's a really cool thing, man.
there's some really really good crews here. I mean, in today's scene, it's kind of dropping off because those people are getting older and they have more responsibilities. But back in the day, like probably, I mean, I haven't really been in the scene for that long, but going back 10 years to now, for that generation, yeah, people wanted to put on parties out in the bush every weekend, and now all of those people are kind of, you know, retiring in a sense. So there needs to be the younger generation coming up and stepping up. But man, I don't know. My brother and I, we put on one party in our hometown out in the bush, and it was hard work. It was really hard work.
Yeah,
and,
it is.
Yeah. And of course, you want to be able to party, but then you're worried about your sound system blowing up. You're worried about people blowing out on gear. You're worried that the cops are going to come, and then I don't know.
You could just
it's
can't
a sacrifice.
Relax. Yeah. It's a tribute to the scene. Yeah. So that's the reason why I'm like going down or stepping back, also a little bit from organizing and stuff like this, because I mean, in the beginning it was really exciting and it was something new, but with some years doing this, it's just getting more and more work and less of a excitement anymore, because I'm so used to the process, and I'm not enjoying it as much as before. And also it's like weird to me when I go just to a party just to be a visitor. It's like it's a strange feeling now to me when I'm here, like, and I got nothing to do, just looking around how to be a guest at an event.
It gets boring.
I need to read. Actually it does. Like, unless the music is like proper banging and real nice, it's really boring. I don't get too much out of it anymore. I mean, especially if it's like club parties in some indoor venue, I really get festivals. I really love festivals. It's a whole different vibe. But in a dark room with a big sound system, it's a nice or it's a plan B, I think, to what I really love. So yeah.
So when did you start going to your first like outdoor parties?
Probably when I was really early, like 16, maybe.
What year was that?
Well, quick math. I'm now 27, so 11 years ago. Yeah. And these were like just some open air kind of stuff, which is just for one night. And but then going out to some festivals. I think my passion for Psytrance got really big when I went the first time to Ozora, which is now I think like 10 years ago. And I still can remember that this was like really eye-opening, like how a big collective of people can work as well, in contrast to how I experience it in my day-to-day life on the streets. Like, for example, if I accidentally push someone or someone push me, it's like not a big deal. People were like, "Oh, it's okay" or whatever. But if I do things like this on the streets here in Germany, they're like,
yeah. That's exactly right. It's like the ultimate freedom. And I was speaking about that with my friends when we were at the festival that we're at just a couple of weeks ago, and it's like we got there on the Friday and we were at our camp. Mind you, it was 40 degrees, so it was really, really hot. We were at our camp and we were kind of just wilting away. We were so hot and we were like, how are we going to be able to last this whole thing? We ended up just putting our heads in ice buckets and things like that. And one of our other friends ended up going for a bit of a walk down to the stage, and he came back and he was just like, "What the fuck are you guys doing here?" And we were just like, "It's so hot." And he's just like, "Get your asses up. We're going down to the D floor." Went down to the D floor. There was literally like 1,000 people at the D floor already. And I just thought to myself, like, it's a Friday. Everybody had just knocked off work. They've driven 3 hours to get to this place to just express themselves and to just let everything out. It's like the ultimate freedom. So that's what I love about the festivals, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And yeah, my first festival was it was 2017, so I would have been 23. My major one, which was a festival called Yamea.
Okay.
Who played at that? Perfect Stranger, and a bunch of others. And like, I was not into it at all at that moment. Like, I just went because I discovered, doing MDMA and doing ketamine. And my brother was kind of, he really wanted me. He pulled me along to it, and I am ever so thankful and grateful for that, because it opened up a whole world,
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds sick. Like, also, I had the feeling like, maybe I'm doing wrong on the Australian scenes, but it's really growing a lot in terms of psytrance. I got the feeling like just a couple of years ago, it wasn't too, I don't know how to express this properly, but that like most of the psytrance scene is like taking part in Europe or in the rest of the world, and Australia is like kind of really isolated. And that but nowadays, that at least for night psy music, I'm just seeing like more and more people having gigs in Australia. So I get the feeling it's growing a lot recent in terms of like, taking part also in the international scenes or whatever.
Yeah.
Is this true?
I think we've had some really good artists come over to Australia recently, especially in the last 5 years since I've been in the scene. I'm sure before that they've had amazing artists as well come over, but and I think it's growing in popularity with the norm. You could call them the norm, the radio listeners, I suppose, because I feel as though radio music is kind of getting shitter, and people want to. There's more people expressing themselves. There's more people pushing the boundaries into being individual or going down different creative paths. And this type of music, of course, it's like the utmost creative you can kind of be, like psytrance, dark side, dub, all those types of electronic music. So there's definitely a wider audience here, and there's promoters that are definitely trying to get people over, and I'm sure people over, like the artists over in Europe, they want to come to Australia. Like, who doesn't?
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
It's beautiful here, man.
Hey, man, I also wish to come to Down Under once in my life at least, but it's like the flights are so expensive. I don't know. You come over to Europe this summer. Probably, maybe you're already here when I broadcast this episode. Not sure, a bit, because it will take, I think, maybe 2 months or 8 weeks or something until I broadcast this episode. But how expensive were your flights to come to Europe?
I haven't booked them yet. I've been putting it off for a little bit, so I need to book them really soon. I know I had a look. Just going straight to Zagreb in Croatia would be it'd be like $1,600. So that's probably what's half of that? €800.
Just one flight,
just one way. And there's actually some airline companies that are doing, I think, some like $600 to Athens in Greece. So €300, which is amazing. But
Yeah, this is
flying all the way
fucking
to
cheap.
Athens is pretty fucked. I think
Yeah.
I'm just going to go straight to Zagreb,
Yeah.
right, just like 5 days before Modem.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really want to do like a big tour, but I don't think I will be able to financially,
Yeah.
and also time, with work, things like that. But yeah, I've always wanted to come over to Europe, but then also when Europe is like displayed to us Australians, it's like London, it's Spain, it's France, and
Yeah.
things like that. And it never really appealed to me for some reason, like especially traveling Asia and
Yeah.
seeing the difference between those countries and Europe, like that catches my eye more than the what would you call the Western Europe, I suppose.
Yeah, man. I totally get it. I
Yeah.
totally get it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't grab my attention as well if I wouldn't live here. So,
Yeah.
but I think in Eastern Europe, yeah, there are really interesting places to go. I think everywhere there can be interesting places to go, but yeah, in places like Western Europe, it's maybe a little bit harder to find.
Yeah, it's just
simple
too
people.
touristy for me. I hate
Yeah,
tourism. I hate being around lots
Yeah.
of people, the pushing, the shoving, the traffic. That's why I moved from the big city, Melbourne. I moved to the Gold Coast in Queensland because it's
Oh.
just slower paced. And yeah, being in those touristy areas just doesn't appeal to me. So yeah, Eastern Europe for sure. Like I was looking up videos of Bosnia the other day. Bosnia looks fucking
It's
sick,
insane
man.
down. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Croatia, Bosnia, Slovenia, these
Yep.
countries, they are all like, they still have like places with a lot of nature still. I mean, in Germany, it's like the population is so dense that I think you can't really go. Maybe this is wrong informations, but I think that you can't go 50 kilometers in any direction without encountering a village or whatever. I mean, probably there are like expectations to this, but this is, yeah, it's fucking dense here. And probably in those 50 kilometers in between these populated spots, there's just agriculture, at least where I live. When there are no mountains there, there's agriculture.
Yeah. 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 But at least you've got that land in the middle to be able to, have your houses and, have a population. I mean, in Australia, you go maybe 400 kilometers inland and it just turns to desert. So the only inhabitants around Australia is around the coast. So, it's inhabitable in like the center of Australia. There is a town in the center of Australia called Alice Springs, but it's it's like a cowboy town basically.
And is it just for some, I guess, mining stuff, or what's the reason to have just to have a city in the center of the country?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was just like, let's put a city smack bang in the middle of the country. Nah, there's definitely mining towns. I went to one recently called Kubapedi. It's like an opal mining town. So people just come in, they fly in and do their opal hunting and fly out. And it's a bit of a tourist trap, I reckon, because, everybody thinks they want to see the opals and like all the opal mines, and you get there and it's like tumbleweeds going past and there's people with like one eye just staring at you, and lots of drunks throwing bottles around, and that's the kind of the downfall of those towns. Are so isolated from everything. Things can get pretty out of hand. So yeah,
I think it's really desperate it's getting really desperate if you're just that isolated. And Yeah, I can imagine this easily. But why did you went to this mining town? Do you also wanted to hunt some opals or?
Nah, I was actually working on a TV series, so I did a little bit of work in the special effects department for one of my
Mhm.
family friends. So I was in Coober for I think maybe 2 months, which is a long time. You know, if
Yeah,
you're a tourist and you go on a Coober, you can spend maybe maximum a week there, not maybe
yeah,
3 days. That's all you
yeah.
need. So I spent 2 months there, and I was working on a TV series called Firebite, which is about vampires inhabiting all of the mines, and they were killing all the people at nighttime. Basically, like what's that movie? Is it 28 Days Later or 28 Weeks Later? Is that
I
it?
think I've heard of that, but I didn't
Maybe
watch
that's
it.
a
I think
zombie
it's
one.
28
Sorry.
days. Yeah,
Yeah.
but really cool. Are you keen to tell a little bit more about this work you were doing on this TV show?
Yeah, so I just got the opportunity from one of my family friends. I've got a little bit of labouring, like building experience in the past, and I was in Melbourne, and I was in Melbourne for maybe like 3 months, and I just got a house with some of my best friends, and I got a call up, and he was like, "Do you want to come and work on a TV show?" And I was just like, "Hell yeah!" He sent me how much I was going to get paid, and I was just like, "This is ridiculous money." So it was right at the start of one of our really intense lockdowns as well. So during COVID, so I had to get over all the way to Adelaide, which is a good 500 kilometers, I think, and I had to get there before midnight, and I missed the cutoff to enter Adelaide during the COVID lockdowns, and I ended up having to do like 2 weeks quarantine in a hotel before I could start working. I missed it by one day. So when I was out of quarantine, it was all good. I got stuck into it, and so it was basically when you see like a really epic scene where people on horseback, maybe it's like in Lord of the Rings or something, and there's mist in the air, and there's fires. They're not real fires. They're lit up by gas bottles, and each fire has to have somebody operating those gas bottles. So, and there's people blowing atmospheric dust into the sky to be able to add that effect. So, I was doing all that stuff. So it was pretty much it was kind of shit kicker kind of stuff, but it was good fun, really really good experience. And while I was there, that's actually when I sent all of my tunes to Yarn, to Synthetic Chaos. And because I just had so much free time on my hand, I was in a hotel room, didn't have any friends, didn't go out. I was just worked during the day. I'd come home and I'd just start producing. So, and I just had the crappiest setup, and I ended up buying these headphones when I was there. Didn't realize that you have to like calibrate them and make sure that it's a flat frequency response. So I was making all these tunes that just sounded like absolute fucking dog shit. But I sent them to Yarn, and he loved them. And it was just such a weird time because I was in Adelaide for one.
This is like for your first EP, like the Psychedelic Mind.
Yeah, just first completed track basically that I sent.
This EP was a fucking banger EP. Like
you liked it. Thank you.
Yeah, man, I liked it so much, and actually it was for sure not the only EP, but this really got me more into this higher BPM night psy. Or before I was DJing and producing more like full-on stuff, like 146 so whatever BPM, but alongside with your EP I got way more into the 150
and isn't that cool? Hey, like finding something from a little redheaded boy from Australia, like I was given like an amazing opportunity to be able to release on that label, and then it gets out to someone like you, and then it kind of changes your perspective on, you know, psytrance, and it's weird how things can just link up like that. Hey,
yeah, man, praise the internet.
That's it.
Internet.
That's what I say. I have more internet friends than I do in real life because of, you know, starting Wode.
Yeah. Amen. This is so great because I just the last podcast I had with Octave, I actually met him through. Yeah, I once booked him for a party, and after that we just stayed in touch. And it's really crazy because he introduced me to a software called Muse, where we just all could hang out, and by we all, I just mean him and his Portuguese friends and myself. And now, I think one time a week at least we are hanging out there, just having chats about psytrance and stuff, and it's a really nice community, and it's also all going through the internet. And one day I just want to give some tribute or some credit to like the internet and what it made possible for me. Maybe I just call one EP like people on the internet or whatever, because it literally changed my life.
Yeah. Round of applause for the internet. I think the creator of the internet was an Australian bloke as well.
Really?
Creator of the internet. Let's have a look.
I just heard that it was an invention by the US government, but probably I didn't fact check it ever.
Maybe I'm talking shit. Oh no, sorry, it's not the internet. It's Wi-Fi.
Ah, okay.
Silly me.
Yeah,
I was
gotcha.
trying to get up on my Australian high horse then. But following on from what you're talking about, like, it's been awesome. Like, nobody else understands. Like, I'm sure you've got some other friends that don't understand psytrance. They don't understand music production.
Yeah, sure.
And like, from an outsider perspective, when I tell them, oh yeah, I've just been like talking to my friend from Germany, like, and I'm doing a interview with him, they're just like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? Why are you doing that? It's just something we do, and we're able to speak to people from Brazil, Argentina, and I'm always talking to this bloke from Japan, Savat, like, and so many other people, just, you know, always pumping you up for your creative, like your creativeness or whatever you've put out, and it's awesome.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah, man. I think this is this actually also one of the reasons I started this podcast is also to just have these conversations with people who are into the stuff a little more than some of my friends in my day-to-day life. People who maybe understand the psytrance scene a little bit better, or at least the passion for it, and to just have these talks, because it's a rare thing in real life.
It's rare to be able to talk to you about I don't know, FM synths. You know, I can't talk to that about those types of things with, say, my housemates or something like that. So it is good. The only person I can really talk to in depth about these types of topics is my brother Daniel, who got me into psytrance. He's younger than me by 3 years, and like, he'll just be sending me tune after tune after tune, and I'll just be like, holy shit, where'd you find this from? This is sick. And he's just actually started making music as well. It's been a long time coming, and I know he's got it in there. He's got it in his mind to be able to pump out something really hectic. And what he's been sending me recently is really, really sick. So I'm keen to see what he has to offer. But other friends, they're still into it, but they don't have the passion because they don't produce, kind of thing. And
and it's just so technical, and all those different kinds
Hey.
of effects and settings. Like, if I really want to bore my friends, I start talking about this. But
I
yeah,
don't
and
even
this,
bother anymore, man.
yeah. Also, when I still lived together with my ex-girlfriend, she needed to take a listen to all the tunes and to listen to the latest techniques I was discovering. But
Yeah, and did she
yeah,
enjoy that?
probably not.
Absolutely
I
not,
guess
man.
she tried.
That's probably why she's the ex-girlfriend, you know? That Hey, that very, very similar experience with me as well and my ex-partner. Like,
Yeah,
we'd be having a romantic dinner or, hanging out, and I would just be like, oh, I really need to go home and work on this kick and bass.
man, it's like
Like,
an
and
obsession. It's
and now,
fuck.
like, now that she's gone, and like, obviously, super heartbroken by that, and I wish I gave
Yeah,
it more time.
yeah,
But yeah, it's just, I mean, if those things didn't happen, we wouldn't evolve.
yeah, sure.
If we didn't give that time to our
Yeah,
passion, we wouldn't have,
yeah,
got where we are.
yeah, and I'm really happy that I'm not so obsessed with making music anymore, because I had like this year where I was really grinding stuff and thinking all the time about it and how to improve. And I think it also was a really good time, but I was still enjoying that. I'm now a little more relaxed towards this. And yeah
So tell me, how do you get to the place that you're in? Because I'm in the place at the moment where I go to sleep and I can see waveforms of audio, or I'm listening to music and I'm like envisioning how they would create that patch. It's just it's quite I don't know, scary, I suppose, if I'm that obsessed with it. But yeah, how did you find the time to be able to wind back and take a step back? Because I think it is important to do that. You need, people have their work-life balance, and now
yeah
I think we have our work-life producing balance, and it
yeah
can be pretty unhealthy sometimes. Like, I can be stuck
for
in my
sure.
room. I live in the 4x4 bedroom box, and
Yeah,
I can stay in all day producing, but at the end of the day, I'm just like, fuck, I really needed to go outside. Hey,
the back is hurting and
yeah,
stuff like this.
your ears, man.
The ears, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, it was probably quite a complex process. I had like some realizations during this winter, and I think one of these realizations was that I want to be really successful in making music, and that I want to be appreciated. This was I think a big reason of me making music, and to be like the guy on top of the stage and pumping these tunes, admired by everybody for his super cool brain, whatever. And I did music a little bit for the, in quotation marks, wrong intentions, or the intention weren't in a good balance. And I just realized the main reason I make music is because I want to be seen as this psytrance producer. I want to get successful with this, and that really took over a big part of my identity. Also, I had like or still in a process. I probably have to pay a huge amount of money to the government. Maybe it's not figured out all yet, but they claimed 17k euros from me, And so I also had like this big number over my head, and it was like, why shall I continue making music and grind that hard if I maybe can't make a career out of it? I will be in debt for probably the next 15 years or whatever. So I rethought my intentions, like if I can't do a career, if I just want to be successful and the guy on top of the stage, like what are these intentions? Are they realistic? And yeah, obviously I came to the conclusion that the main reason I should do this is for myself, and yeah, just because I enjoy it, and yeah, it feels like a relief to not be pushing too hard anymore. And also I was listening a lot to the Mr. Bill podcast. I promote this a lot of times on the podcast probably, and having insights into how, if you live an artistic career as your profession, how your life is looking like flying out almost every weekend, getting wrecked by spending more than almost 2 days on the road just to perform one show in wherever. I mean, of course, there will be still exciting gigs in between, but if you do this like really professional, probably one day or one time you will be really sick, and then you need to fly out to somewhere else, and probably you just want to stay home. So yeah, just to see the other side a little bit better made it more obvious to me that I should reevaluate if I really want to push towards this, or how much I want to push towards this, because I also have a son which is like almost who is like almost 2 years old, and it's.
I saw in one of your pictures rocking the baby pack.
Yeah,
I was like, respect, man. Still pumping out tunes while while the baby gets some milk in him.
Yeah, I just was thinking that the thing I enjoy the most is making music at home, and this should be the main reason why I'm doing this. Of course, also to have this ceremony with other people and to pump my tunes from time to time, but the main reason is because I enjoy it, and this should be my biggest intention, and not so much to get successful.
I definitely I understand that on some certain levels, especially like with all the stuff and all the music that is coming out these days, and maybe like myself or yourself, we don't think that we're at that level, and you just feel like almost giving up. But that's how I did feel at the start. I was like, there's so much good music coming out, and how am I supposed to what do you call it? Basically,
cut through it.
Yeah, how am I supposed to get into the scene when everything's so technical these days? But then you just, like you said, you got to take a step back and just realize why you're doing it and how you started it. Like the first time that you probably loaded Ableton into, or any DAW into your computer, was just probably curiosity of it. You were just like, what the fuck is this? And then it evolved from there on. It's like a big graph. You see the graph of Bitcoin. That is basically the graph of your music production.
Yeah, true.
So I never thought about fame or playing or performing to crowds or anything like that. Like, to be honest, I would much rather be on the D floor, on the dance floor, dancing.
Yeah.
I just, at this most recent festival I played at, Esoteric, I couldn't see fucking jack shit out there. I couldn't see my mates jumping up and down. I couldn't see anybody dancing. No, it was like a squint. I had to do squint. It was
what
quite
is
like
squinting?
squint is kind of like, you know when people close their eyes and it's supposed to make them see better. It makes them see worse, obviously. But so I've had the most amazing moments on the dance floor watching those performances. But I always envisioned myself being up there. But when I got up there, I was just like, I actually really enjoy being by myself in my room, making, putting on repeat the same kick over and over again to try and get it right. You know, that's what I really love. You do see like the top psytrance DJs or producers these days, and they're going on some pretty big tours, you know, all around the world. But there are a handful. Like I'm pretty sure we just had Scorb come over from the UK, and he's one of my all-time faves. And I haven't seen him play a gig or be on any lineups for a really, really long time. And I think mistake me if I'm wrong. And so I think the promoters of Esoteric, he's a massive, massive fan of Scorb, the guy who runs the Ascension stage. But he would have just been like, you have to come over. I'm going to slap, thousands of dollars in your face. And he couldn't resist. So it'd be great to get to a point like that where people, you don't want to tour, you don't want to play shows, but when people are just like, we really want you to, then I think that's where it's at.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that sounds actually amazing. But I think I probably can't relate too much with staying on such a big stage, but as you described it, it sounded like you can't really connect anymore to the dancers, or if it's really dark and if you're up there and you're just seeing this probably some lights by some jugglers or whatever, it's like
it's really funny because obviously as a punter, as a dancer, as somebody just appreciating the stage, the lighting and where you are center of stage, and you see that godlike figure up there waving their arms around and they look like an angel just conducting, being a conductor for you, and all of your dance moves. But when you actually get up there, it's literally a fucking wooden box with a couple of empty beer cans, some DJ decks. There's nothing fancy about being up on stage, man. It is really good fun though. To be able to, don't get me wrong, I'm not fucking shitting on it, but when you're up there and you're playing your own music, which has always been a dream of mine, like I never wanted to DJ at all. I hated the concept of DJing, mainly because I fucking suck at it. But to be able to play your own tunes, and I mean, I couldn't really see anybody, but when people start whistling and shit like that, it's a good feeling.
Yeah, it's a really good feeling. Yeah. So, because like the difference in thinking how it is to be on stage to how it really is. I just heard also this by Mr. Will, of course, my god, my master.
He's a pretty funny dude, isn't he? He's really he draws you in with his humor and his knowledge.
Hey man, this guy, he just does so many really nice things in my opinion. But he once talked on his podcast, or a couple of times he talked. He said that there's this big venue in the US for bass music, which is called Red Rocks. I actually don't have a clue on how it's looking, but it seems to be like a pretty big deal. Like it was sounding to me like something playing on Ozora or Modem or whatever, like a really top tier venue. And he always thought that when he gonna play Red Rocks, it's like the biggest thing in his career, and he will be such a happy person, and his dreams come true and whatever. And while and this was so sobering, while he was up there and performing the set, he said he realized that all the problems in his life, they will still stay the same. It won't fix anything. It's
Yeah.
just like, it's life will be still be the same. I mean, of course, you played this big venue, but it's not like you will be this happy and fulfilled person you maybe vision it like.
Yeah.
So I thought this is pretty interesting, and definitely also helped me a lot to see things more as they are in quotation marks than just a little bit more clear.
Yeah, I think with what he was saying, I think it's a bit of a. It's like you have life goals and you have your producing goals or your artist goals, you know?
Fuck. The internet connection.
Sorry.
Never mind.
True. I think because my laptop is so fucking old, it just, if it's on for too long, it will just black out. So
Fuck, man.
I think that's number one blackout. We've probably got another blackout in another half an hour or so. So we should be sweet.
Yeah, but cool that you'll be back that quickly. I think in my side the thing blacked out right when you were talking about this Mr. Bill Blackrock's Red Rocks thing.
That's right. Yeah. He was so Mr. Bill was talking about being up on stage and having that mindset of always wanting to play there, and but all of your problems still being the same. I think that there's, that it's all about goal setting, whether that be the life goal setting. So you have the things that are outside of music production and you as an artist, and then you have also your goals as an artist. So I think obviously, you want to tick those boxes as an artist. And of course things are going to be out of your control in life, but you still have to be fucking proud of yourself for getting where you've gotten to. And you tick those boxes, like it's amazing still to be able to achieve those things. And there's 1,000 to 1,000,000 other people that would want to be in your shoes. So I don't think you should take those kind of moments for granted. And
I think it definitely wasn't meant to be downplayed. It's just like a perspective probably the most of the people who want to also be up there don't think of. Because I guess, like, for example, if I would perform whatever, like Ozora or Modem or whatever, it would be like such a big deal to me. But at the same time, if all of the rest of my life it's just a mess, like whatever relationship struggles, huge debt or whatever, this obviously won't fix that, and probably maybe I will not also be in the headspace to enjoy it as much as I imagined it to be. It won't be this life fixer or life fulfiller you maybe picture it like. I just thought it's an interesting perspective I never thought about, because I thought when I will gonna play at Modem or at Ozora, I just completed life. I played through all the quests, I ticked all the boxes.
That was Modem or Ozora, that was the final boss. And you got there. Yeah, it's an interesting thing to think about, and obviously you have your head screwed on your shoulders enough to be able to have your whole life, as well as which you you know, it is important enough, as well as your producing life as well there. And I'm sure that there are so many whacked out people or producers that that they don't care about their problems and things like that. It's just constant, just go with the festivals and so yeah, it's interesting. It depends on what type of person you are to be able to recognize those things as well. If that makes sense. I'm not even sure if that makes sense.
I think probably not to everybody, but yeah, I guess for a lot of people it will make sense. Also, yeah, man, it's just your opinion on that topic.
Yeah, like I'm no elder of the scene or anything like that. I'm only just starting out, but it's you know, you observe things from other artists and whatnot, and you can get stuck in that cycle of there's just constant party, but then you have your other things back home that you need to work on. But and there's also another side of it where, you know, your life could just constantly be a party and you have no responsibilities back home. So it's kind of a double-edged sword.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's the balance. Yeah, balance is the answer to so many things. There isn't inherently a good or a bad thing for the most stuff, but I also had this what you were describing, like in the opposite. I just started studying some years ago, and then I turned away from producing music for like 2 years or maybe even 3 years, and really lost track of it until I got the information that I will become father, and I realized, like, fuck, I did now this. I studied physics and whatever, but this isn't what I want to have the rest of my life look like. I really enjoy this music, and then I had the fear suddenly that I won't be able to make music anymore if I'm father and if I'm doing this physics thing. So I really quickly hopped back again onto making music, because it made me realize that this is a passion of mine, and I really want this to be part of my life. So shout outs to my son.
What's his name?
His name is it's Merlin, like
Merlin.
The wizard.
Yeah,
wizards.
That's the
cool.
sickest name. Sickest name for a little baby.
I also think it's a sick name, but sometimes I don't know what I probably done to his life, because everybody will be like, oh, like the wizard, you know.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
I think our generation they're trying to weed out the old school names, you know, like John and Peter and Steve and Phil and shit like that. So, dude, having a sick name that's cool. As if
sick.
when he's 18 years old and his name's Merlin, everyone's going to be like, fucking Merlin, he's the sickest cunt. And he loves Psytrance as well. And his dad's this fucking sick producer.
I'm also curious on this, how his relation to Psytrance will evolve. Probably he's, man, this is just my dad's thing. Fuck this, I'm different. Yeah. I'm getting into country music.
Yeah, well, when he's probably, 18, 20, Psytrance, that would be considered classical music.
Yeah, man,
and
just recently...
He'll be listening to maybe like, just a static white noise. That's how it's going to evolve. Like the BPM is like 1,000 BPM.
Yeah, but I also just recently I had a chat with this one guy who were telling me that they're organizing this one festival in France. It's dedicated to psytrance music, and they really struggle there at that particular festival to reach the people under 25 years. So the younger generation. And this was the first moment ever in my life where I had this thought that, yeah, one day probably psytrance will be like old people's music.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure. For sure.
not be that modern and not that cutting edge. More like we look now on 70s rock music or whatever.
I suppose
just what is, go ahead.
It's just by chance that we discovered this music. You know, we got it shown to us by a particular person. I don't know about you. Did you get it shown to you by somebody, or
sure.
did you just stumble
For
upon
sure.
it? Because I definitely that didn't happen to me.
Yeah.
So those people under 25, you know, they need people to show them. Because it is like, you know, it's the most stimulating music by far, compared to the fucking rot that they have on the radio. You know, like you're talking about the people in France, they listen to a lot of techno, and it's not far off.
Well.
Yeah, it's Germany, of course, and it's not far off psytrance, but you know that techno that you guys listen to, it's almost like radio music over there. It's so mainstream.
Hey man, it's crazy. Like also, I got the feeling there's like this new, I don't know, genre coming up. It's I guess it got the origins in like hard techno with like distorted kicks, but gets really fast and up to probably 150, 160, 170. And they are now mixing this with they got the techno rumble kick, like just get the kick as the bass part in the track. Then in the same track they're using the psytrance bass line, but with a hard techno kick. It's like it's like a crazy fusion of everything, which is working right now for the younger listeners. And I think it's a interesting phenomenon to see how all those styles get mixed together to, I think it will just create some new kind of mixed genre, whatever, which is like popping off so hard right now in Germany. It's crazy.
Because you guys have like your gabba and your hard style and things like that, don't you? Or is that's mostly in the Netherlands? Hey.
Yeah, they are way more into it, but still, like hard techno got its place in Germany for sure, and quite recently, I think also more in the mainstream music due to all this TikTok raver thing, or at least I associate it with people wearing this fetish clothing and listening to hard techno. Yeah, like with this stuff, it's really popping up. Right before, just hard techno to me was like, just some village Nazi music. I don't know, like
it's
people in the backside of the country listening to hard techno. I don't want to get too bad on hard techno here. It's just my personal impression, and I don't judge the music because of the people I thought just listening to this.
They'll end up raiding your house and they'll come and get you. They'll come and steal your baby. I tell you who I really like from Germany is Klangkünstler. Do you know him?
Klangkünstler. I don't know. I don't know him. No, what
He's-
kind of music does he does?
It's like really fucking hard techno, but he has
Okay.
a really awesome like social media presence that, you know, you see
Okay.
the crowds just going off their nut. And it's super repetitive, really harsh hi-hats, and, you know, hardly any claps or anything. It's just like
Yeah, to me, because Klangkünstler, it just means like sonic artist, like one of the literally translations.
sonic
and-
artist. Well, it
Yeah,
sounds
like-
fucking evil to us. You know, Klangkünstler. It's just like how you guys say ambulance, eh? Krankenwagen. Everything
Yeah,
just
you
goes
guys-
off its nut in German.
Yeah, it's sounding pretty aggressive, I guess, to
Hey,
non-native speakers.
is Hypergeo, is he from Germany or is he from Italy?
I think he got Italian roots.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure. I don't know him personally, but I'm pretty sure he's living in Berlin with his
Yeah.
family.
Because he's
Yeah.
like, he's one of my all-time faves. When it gets down to the slower genres of that style of music, him and
Yeah.
like the other, his side project, Schrott, which is a
Schrott.
German word.
Schrott. Yeah,
Schrott.
man, it's just mean this kind of metal garbage. You got
Yeah.
like these big
And that's exactly what it sounds
places.
like. But
yeah, I really admire him as well.
yeah. I haven't really delved. I mean, going back, like I started out listening to techno, but as soon as I found like progressive psytrance, like I'm talking about like 140 to 145, then I never ever went back and listened to techno for some reason.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I've gone and seen Boris Brescia a couple of times. And
Mhm.
he's fucking awesome. His production's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's just a really different thing how techno works. It's more like repetitive patterns, like more focus on less elements, and it's
Yep.
just not my taste. I really like to be constantly a little bit overwhelmed by all the details and the sensation of just can't process it all at once, and to be able to dive into all those different details, to listen to different layers and to explore them. There's like just way more to experience for me, and right in the music with Psytrance. And I also had this I just last year I was on a festival where Hypogeo was playing, and I told all my companions that this will be like fucking amazing music, and we were sitting beside the dance floor, and just my one friend took a dose of mushrooms and was sitting next to me and be like, "Oh man, I don't know, I don't like this music. It's like scary and I don't get it." And I was like, yeah, maybe just go check it out or whatever. I wasn't caring so much, but we were sitting like right up on the hill, and just 10 minutes later I was seeing him down there right in front of the speakers having the time of his life.
It's a different experience being side of stage and maybe getting all that fucking, you know, phase cancellation and double audio, and then you go actually into the pit of the dance floor and hearing it stereo, and then it just, you know, it rips your head off. It really does.
Yeah.
The clarity of the speakers that are at these festivals now is amazing. Like, I at the recent festival Esoteric, you know, I had a bunch of friends that they only listen to techno, or they listen to maybe psytrance that's up to about 150, and there was a DJ. He's producer as well. His name's Melt. I think he's on Intermind Records, but he has a side DJ project called Akuzma, and he plays Dark Side and all Resonor Records types of music. And that absolutely blew my fucking mind. Just being on a huge sound system, and I would do, a 180 and have a look at my friends behind me, and it looked like they were just in awe of the music. Some of them don't even listen to electronic music. They listen to fucking John Mayer or, just really nice chill stuff that it just takes a couple of moments to stand there and just listen, and your body just automatically is processing the audio and makes you move,
Yeah.
You have to move to that tempo. And if you're just standing there, I think you got something wrong with you, really. Even so, this festival, it's out in 3 hours out in the countryside. So there's cowboys and stuff at the nearest town, and all the people at the town, they get free tickets, and they listen to fucking country music, but they come to the dance floor, and they're there ripping it up because it just overrides your body, the music.
Yeah. So I think we should probably wrap this here because I need to get some breakfast because I haven't eaten now.
Hey man, I've got to go on a date after this with a girl.
Sick, yeah.
That's why I'm getting a couple of bloody fizzes in me.
Wish you all the best, dude.
Thank you, brother.
Good luck for this date, and I really enjoyed chatting with you. It was a pleasure to have you on this podcast. Is there anything you want to plug or tell people where to check out your stuff, or do you feel in the mood of doing anything like this?
Yeah. So check out my SoundCloud. SoundCloud's probably the best way to find my music. It's just soundcloud.com/Wode666. I really need to change that. That was an early on decision. But yeah, I've got heaps of new material coming out. It's all going to be like a different style. I think I've kind of honed in on my style, going a lot more darker, more technical, probably more driven and less random, and less harsh. Not so much more radio friendly, but yeah, just a little bit something for the night time. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds amazing.